I'm the Kinky Atheist, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to identify and call out bully tactics. It's a huge advantage to know how to do this because most of the people who are going to try to shame you about being kinky or poly or atheists are going to do so with bully tactics. In this video, I'm going to show you some examples of bully tactics, how to identify them, how to call them out, how to handle them. So stick around. Welcome to the show. Around here, we dispel shame around sex, sexuality, relationships, and spirituality. And today we're talking about bullies, specifically bully tactics, how to identify them and how to call them out. What do you do when someone comes up to you and just starts bullying you? What does it even look like? Sometimes it's so subtle that you don't even realize they're doing it. But the short version is, bullying you is basically manipulating you. They are manipulating you into doing things their way without real logical reason. They're just doing something to you that pushes you to give in. So let's talk about that. So there's two styles of bullying, and I'm only going to talk about one style today. I'll talk about the other style another time. One style is basically just doing whatever it takes for them to be right and you to be wrong. The second style is where they are actually crossing your boundaries. And they're just doing whatever they can to manipulate you and get you to change, loosen, or allow your boundary to be crossed. This video is going to talk about the type of bully that just does whatever it takes to be right and to make you wrong. I'll talk about the boundary crossers in a different video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with all your friends. You can email me questions at ask@kinkypolyatheist.com. So what does it look like when you're being bullied by someone who's just trying to be right? What happens is they stop giving real reasons. Reasons don't even matter anymore. They go straight to emotions and trying to get you emotionally charged. The way we're going to handle a bully is we're going to remain calm. That's key. We're going to breathe to keep our pulse low and slow. And we're simply going to call out the behaviors. We're not even going to acknowledge what they're pushing for. We're just going to call out bully tactics as bully tactics. It's very important that you don't name call. That is a bully tactic. Don't call them a bully. Instead, call out the bully tactic. Call out the behavior. Make a separation between the person and the behavior. It's much easier to say, hey, you just did something that's unacceptable, compared to saying, you're a horrible person. One calls out a behavior, the other one accuses the other person of something, and it leads to a very different conversation. So do not name call. Do not call people bullies. Instead, call out the behavior. So one of the first tactics you're going to run into is actually very common. They're going to try to silence you. And they're going to do it in a couple of ways. One of the ways is they just talk over to you. They just continue to talk right over you. In the middle of your sentence, they just start going. They cut you off and continue. You never get a chance to talk. Like your turn just never seems to come. And when you're about to talk, they say, and they keep going. So they just don't let you talk or they cut you off. That's a form of bullying. They're not interested in what you have to say. They're interested in silencing you. That is a bully tactic. Another way they'll do that is they'll raise their voice. They will talk louder than you. If they're raising their voice, just call it out. Hey, we're just having a conversation here. There's no need to raise your voice. If you're going to want to talk to me, I'm going to need you to lower your voice. If you want to continue this conversation, you need to bring your voice down. And if they can't do that, you don't continue the conversation. So they will drown you out. They will talk over you. They will continue to talk. They won't let you get a word in. And ultimately, all they're doing is keeping you from being able to add to the conversation. You'll probably realize that about this time, they're not even talking about logical things. They're just throwing out attack after attack after attack, and they're belittling anything you might have to say. A lot of times when people run out of logical things to say, facts and things like that, they turn to bullying, and they may not even realize it. Some people jump straight to bullying. Maybe they grew up in a household where their parents bullied them, so they always had to be on the defense, and they always had to attack first. Their reasoning really doesn't matter as much as recognizing, hey, that's a bully tactic. So right out of the gate, you have two choices. One is to just not interact with them. Honestly, walking away is a very simple thing to do. Not inviting them back is a very simple thing to do. You do not have to waste your time and energy with bullies. If someone's going to bully you about your religion, if someone's going to bully you about your relationships, if someone's going to bully you about what you find sexy or the people you have sex with, you don't even have to listen to them. You don't have to acknowledge them. You can move on with your life. That's one of the easiest ways to deal with a bully, is to simply just move on. I've got better things to do with my time than to deal with you. Just don't engage with them. By not engaging, you don't give them any more ammo. They will use all the ammo they have, but by not engaging with them, you won't give them any more ammo. If you decide to call it out, it's as simple as staying calm and just calling it out. Hey, excuse me, I would also like to be able to talk too. Excuse me, am I going to get to talk? Hey, I'd appreciate it if you don't cut me off anymore. I'm allowed to talk too. Sometimes it's better to actually have a trade-off. Hey, if you'd like to continue this conversation, you're going to have to let me talk too. You're basically telling them, I won't stand for this. You get to set the rules of engagement on how people treat you. If they're not going to treat you with respect, then there's no need to be talking. If you're not going to let me talk, then there's no conversation, so I'm just going to leave now. But don't get mad. Don't get upset. Because everything that they're doing with their bully tactics, they're doing it to provoke emotion in you. So the way the human brain works, we have this whole frontal section here, which lets us do lots of cool logical thinking and imagination and stuff. But when that's not working, we find ourselves in fight or flight. What I mean by that is, when your pulse is racing, this whole part of your brain, the blood just doesn't even go there. It goes back to your primitive brains. And ultimately, you end up in fight or flight. You are driven by your emotions. So by getting a rise out of you, by engaging your emotions, they are knocking you out of your logical thinking. So don't let it happen. Don't raise your voice. Don't get emotional. Breathe. Breathing is the easiest way to slow your pulse. And when your pulse is slow, all of this gets activated with blood and your logical thinking will come back online. Breathe. Odds are, the bully's trying to knock you out of your logical thinking and into your emotional, irrational stuff, because that's their arena. That's where they win. They know they win. So if they can knock you out of your logical thinking and get you to act like a child, like they probably are, then they're going to win. So don't let them. Stay calm. Don't raise your voice. Breathe. Slow everything down. When you say to them, hey, is it my turn to talk yet? When you get your turn, take a breath. Slow it all down. Don't let them rush you. Don't let them push you into a defensive state. Take your time. It shows that you're in control of yourself and the conversation. Another bully tactic is to literally just attack anything you can say. They will belittle anything that you say. And by attacking the things you say, they're trying to destroy your credibility. They're trying to get you to stop sharing. They're trying to use your own words against you. Again, call it out. Hey, it seems like all you're doing is attacking everything I say. That's a bully tactic. So if you don't want to have a conversation, that's fine. I don't interact with bullies, so you can move along. Again, you set the rules of engagement. This is how people interact with me. If you want to have a conversation with me, you are allowed to come have a conversation with me. If you just want to cut me off and attack everything I have to say, go talk to somebody else. You do not have to put up with it. For example, if it comes out that you're poly and some religious person steps in and tells you you're wrong and you're going to hell, you can call them on that. Excuse me, did you just threaten me? I don't appreciate being threatened. You can call them out and say, hey, excuse me, just because our lifestyles are different doesn't mean I appreciate you attacking me like that. You can keep your opinions to yourself. If you can't keep your opinions to yourself, then this conversation's over. Again, a trade-off. You're either going to behave or you're going to lose something. You set the rules of engagement, and you do it calmly. Another thing that they're going to do is they're going to exaggerate their side a lot. They exaggerate their side, whether it makes them look more and more like a victim that everyone should be giving their attention to, or they'll exaggerate how important they are, or how much less time they have than you, and how their stuff needs to come first. That sort of exaggeration is just that. Call it out. Actually, you're just exaggerating. Actually, we have plenty of time. There's no rush. You're exaggerating, and that's kind of a bully tactic, so I'd appreciate it if you stopped. If you want to talk to me, you'll have to stop exaggerating. As part of ramping up all of their emotions to try and manipulate you and get whatever it is they want, which is probably just to be right about whatever stupid thing it is, they're going to use this emotion to try and enroll other people onto their side. They're going to turn it into a, hey everybody, you should be on my side and against this person. Again, that's a bully tactic, just call it out. Hey, I'm not trying to make sides here, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this conversation, and you're bullying me. Turning it into an us versus them is a bully tactic. What's going on? They're also going to play up all of their emotions and minimize all of your emotions. So if you feel like you say something like, well, I don't feel good about that, and they dismiss it immediately, call it out. Hey, I'm trying to share what it's like from my point of view, but you keep dismissing my emotions, and that's kind of a bully tactic. I appreciate it if you didn't. Again, we're calling out the bully tactic. We're not calling them a bully. That's very important. If they are acting like a victim and blaming you, then odds are they're trying to create a lot of drama so they can, quote, win the argument, which is bully tactics. So call it out. You're blaming me for things, and I think you should take some responsibility for your part. Another way they will bully you is by changing the subject so subtly. Whatever it is you're talking about, if you had some kind of point or whatever, they will realize that you were just about to make your point, and they will change the subject, and they will attack you in some new way or on some new front, or create some new thing or diversion for you to have to deal with in the conversation. So just call it out. No, actually, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this. And just bring them right back. Oh, we could talk about that next, but right now we're still talking about this because we haven't finished. I still need to get my turn to talk. So there are some ways to handle a bully. And again, I want to stress, the easiest thing you can do is just walk away and just not invite them back again. If you're not hanging out with them and not dealing with them, then you don't give them ammo. They need ammo to create drama, to win arguments that don't even matter. So don't give them ammo, just walk away. If you have to stand there and deal with them, confront them by calling out every single bully tactic as they're doing it. And remain calm. And again, all of these techniques are very important because you're going to run into bullies when it comes to kinky stuff, poly stuff, and atheist stuff. Religious people are going to push you and bully you, shame you, guilt you, judge you. So be ready to stand up for yourself. I'm the Kinky Poly Atheist. If you like videos like this, like and subscribe. You can ask me questions at ask@kinkypolyatheist.com. And one final thought, it's best not to face a bully alone. Have friends. It's way easier to take a bully down a peg. It's way easier to call out the bully's behaviors when you have people around you who are agreeing with you, like, I don't know what they're doing, but this is silly. It's way easier to get a bully to listen when there's peer pressure involved, because that's what they're doing. They are peer pressuring you. They're using social pressure to bully you, and they understand what that feels like. So if you just have someone standing next to you agreeing with you, it's going to change everything. So walk away, call out the behaviors, and have a friend. I'm the Kinky Poly Atheist. I'll catch you guys next time. If you want a really good example of what bullying can sound like, I highly recommend a book called Where to Draw the Line by Katherine. Specifically, the beginning of chapter 5 and all the way through chapter 5. Chapter 5 starts with a dialogue, which is an incredible example of a verbal bully and all the stops they will pull out. I'll leave a link to the book in the description below. Have a great day.